Hi guys, this is Klazart, bringing another audio commentary, and this time I'm commentating on the Shinhan Bank Winners League matchup between SKT1 and Woojin Stars. The previous sets will be spoiled for you, so I suggest that you keep watching until you reach these two players in the Shinhan Bank Winners League on between Woojin Stars and SKT1. Otherwise, as I said, it will be spoiled for you. This is going to be between Bisu and Guamchi, and this is set 7 of the matchup between these two teams. This is the deciding set, so it's gone right down to the wire, and a tense finale is hopefully in store for us between these two players. This is a VOD that came recommended to me by you guys via YouTube PM, which is why I've decided to cover it, even though normally I would expect Bisu to just stomp over a player like Guamchi, but obviously there must be something worthwhile in this game if you guys have requested me to comment it. So I'm looking forward to checking this out and hopefully covering some exciting StarCraft action, some exciting Protoss versus Protoss action, which I have to say is probably my favorite mirror matchup. Zerg versus Zerg really can degenerate a lot of times into just build order victories, and you know, you see a slow macro game, or sorry, you just see a slow game where until Mutalisks pop, and then there's 10 seconds of action, and then the game's over. And Terran versus Terran is the opposite extreme, where you see no action until about the 40th minute, and then all of a sudden everything erupts, and you know, the tanks crawling slowly up the map. But we've seen some great Terran versus Terran recently. We've seen some great Zerg versus Zerg recently. Let's hope we can see some great Protoss versus Protoss, which is, I have to be said, ever since I saw that epic matchup ages ago between Reach and Nalra, which I believe at one point ended in a draw and had to be replayed, I've just been a huge fan of Protoss versus Protoss. It looks like we've got Bisu starting at the 6 o'clock position in blue, and Guamchi in green at the 2 o'clock position. And yeah, I just want to take a moment here just to let you guys know about the SC2GG commentary idol. I do hope you guys get a chance to check it out. It is really entertaining. I really enjoyed it. I know it's still in its infancy. This is its first season, and it's improved from week to week, and hopefully it will continue to improve. But I really feel that I really hope that the show gets a little bit more support to provide encouragement to Cholera, who's put a lot of work into producing it, and hopefully the next iteration will be even more enjoyable and even bigger and better. But there's some great StarCraft games commentated during it, and you'll get to hear the old time commentators giving some lessons to the new ones, as well as some interesting comments. So I personally enjoyed being a guest judge on it quite a lot, and hopefully if you guys check it out, you guys will enjoy it as well. You can find it via the featured link on my YouTube page, and you can also find it on the Volatak account, featured video on my YouTube page, or you can find it by the Volatak account, which you can reach via my subscriptions if you don't already know about it. And there are some great, and if you don't know about Volatak account, there are some great StarCraft commentaries on there, so you should definitely check it out. I also want to take a small moment here to just give thanks to Bazy and Zatic, who is from Team Liquid, for providing the VODs that allow us to do these commentaries. So big up to those guys. Without their dedication, we wouldn't be able to enjoy the StarCraft that we do enjoy. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to a great game of StarCraft here, hopefully. Both players with perfectly identical builds, both players going 1 gate core, and looks like both players are playing fairly standard right now. Both players have also got their probes in. The only minor difference between the two players was that Guamchi probably sent his probe out to scout a little bit earlier than Bisu's, which is interesting considering that typically the early scout is Bisu's foray. But obviously Bisu feeling supremely confident in this matchup. I mean, he's up against a player with something like a 40% win percentage in what is you know, what is a very strong matchup for Bisu. Obviously, I don't think there is such a thing as a weak matchup for Bisu. And it's interesting. You have to feel for the Woojin Stars coach being forced to send a player with a 40% win rate out against Bisu in what is the deciding matchup of the Winners League against a team that obviously they feel that they would need to beat if they want to get up there towards the top of the Winners League rankings. Obviously, this is Medusa, and we all know how imbalanced it is versus Protoss versus Terran. So even if they had, say, a Terran player better than Guamchi, they wouldn't really be likely to send them out against Bisu. Even though statistically speaking, by a hair's breadth, by the smallest of margins, Protoss versus Terran is probably Bisu's slightly weaker matchup. I won't say weakest, because there is no such thing as a weakest matchup for Bisu. And obviously we know what a massive Zerg destroyer Bisu is, and the last thing you want to do is send a Zerg in, even on a map where the statistics might favor Zerg, you wouldn't want to send a Zerg in unless you had someone the caliber of Savior or Jaedong or July, or perhaps even Yarnak and Luxury if you were forced to. You wouldn't want to send them out against Bisu just to, you know, it would be like sending a rock to the paper and just finding it wrapped up and returned in a nice, neat little present with a stamp of ownage on top of it. So you can understand why Guamchi's been sent out to face Bisu, Protoss versus Protoss. But Bisu's confidence has got to be really high. We saw how he was dismantled by Jangbi in the Pro League in Protoss versus Protoss, maybe something like a day before their massive final in the GomTV Intel Classic. And yet, despite that, Bisu's recovered from that confidence-shattering blow to actually take the championship to add another gold medal to the plethora that are already in his cabinet, shining away. And Bisu looks like he's just going to try and push forward a little bit and just take out that probe of Guamchi's that was at the minerals at Guamchi's temples. This is Medusa. We do have that interesting little ridge behind both players' bases with the with the expo there, and obviously the temples that lead into it. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of strategy Guamchi goes for here, because I really feel the pressure is on him. He's up against Bisu, who, if the game is standard and both players go as they have gone for identical builds, he should really lose. Bisu's got to have the superior micro. He's got to have the superior multitasking here. The only thing that I can feel would be in Guamchi's favor is that probably his coach has been telling him that if he gets to play at all, it will be on this map. So he should practice playing on Medusa. And obviously, considering the statistics on Medusa, Protoss versus Protoss is a high likelihood to come out on this map. So he's probably practiced that matchup a lot. Whereas Bisu obviously is also involved in the OSL, and so therefore Bisu's attention is probably going to be focused more on that, and he's playing a myriad of games for his team in the Pro League as well. He usually features pretty much every week for SKT1 since he is their star player. And again, both players with virtually identical builds, and I've got a feel for Guamchi here because I've got a feel that when it comes down to a battle between Goons and Reavers and Goons and Reavers, Bisu's going to come out on top. But Guamchi so far just about keeping at pace with him, though neither player really trying anything extraordinary or anything special, putting pressure on the other opponent or trying anything, trying any sort of cheese. We are seeing fairly standard Protoss versus Protoss between these two players on Medusa, as can be expected, I guess. I mean, on the one hand, I can't blame Guamchi for trying to play it safe. On the other hand, again, I do feel that the onus is on him, because the last thing he wants to do is to square up against Bisu punch to punch, toe to toe, because Bisu just has so much more capacity for not only absorbing blows, but also for delivering that one knockout punch that even when he's down can just snatch the game away from you. And now it looks like Bisu's actually in a little bit of trouble here. He's going to lose his observer here almost, and actually Guamchi does manage to pick that observer off, so Bisu losing his observer, and that's going to give Guamchi just a little bit of an advantage early on, because he's going to have that scouting advantage. Bisu obviously producing a Reaver in that robotics facility, as well as Guamchi, both players obviously waiting for their Reavers to pop out before they push out. And we've seen something similar in Bisu versus Stork, where both players had virtually identical builds, and it was the Reaver micro and the attack and the defense and the thrust and the counter thrust that finally thrust and counter thrust. Sorry, I know some of you guys have complained about that, but it is a military term as well, and it's not my fault if you guys have got a really dirty mind. So it looks like we're gonna have a square off here in the middle of the map. Guamchi dropping his Reaver, exposing it a little bit early. I'm not sure if that's the wisest move by him, but oh my god, Bisu loses his shuttle. Guamchi manages to pick up Bisu's shuttle very early on with his Dragoons, and now he's got taken off Bisu's Reaver as well. So even though Bisu's got more ground units right now, he's lost both his Reaver and the shuttle, and Guamchi's really going to come out on top, being able to micro that Reaver with the use of his shuttle, and Bisu's going to be forced to retreat. That is just absolutely massive. Just like that, I almost didn't see it. I blinked, and Bisu's shuttle died. Guamchi just with his Reavers, with his Dragoons, he got all of his Dragoons to hit Bisu's shuttle first off as it was dropping the Reaver at the front. Really perfect micro by Guamchi. I don't know if it was a stroke of luck or if it was brilliant play, but he's really given himself a good chance here, because now he's got a Reaver and a shuttle up on Bisu, and I really think he should go and put pressure, because Bisu's trying to take his National Expo right now, and Bisu doesn't have a Reaver, and if Guamchi pushed out right now, and obviously since Bisu had lost his Observer, he was forced to build another Observer, which would have meant that he hadn't queued up his Reaver as quickly as he normally otherwise would have, and therefore he's going to be a little bit slower in his Reaver. Now Guamchi now pushing out, I feel that he should have, as soon as he'd won that